Hello, friends. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I'm looking forward to having a great chat with you all. And here we go. Tonight, I wanted to talk about Homestead Income Generators. I've been unemployed, retired, whatever you want to call it, since we moved here in the fall of 2021. We moved in the middle of November. And I've been basically living off of my husband ever since. I'd like to see what kind of ideas you guys have on income generation and have a good chat. Now, I did find a big list of ideas. Some of them are not in my wheelhouse and some of them I could possibly do. From what I've gathered and everything I'm seeing, generating an income on the homestead is probably going to have to be a multi-stream approach. Pam says, hi, Karen and everyone. Hello, sister. Thank you for joining. So there are a few things I could do. I do have my Reiki level 3 master teacher, and I could be doing Reiki treatments, and I do have space to set it up. It's not wheelchair accessible, but I could have it set up so that, and it's probably not winter accessible, but I could set it up so that I could do that out of my studio. I'm a very hands-on with handcrafts, handmade items and stuff like that. I could generate that, and I just haven't been doing it. I need to come up with a kick in the pants to help myself get along with that. So let's start with you're living on a homestead, you have chickens. Hi, Leanna. So let's start with you live on a homestead, you have chickens. Why aren't you selling chicken eggs? Well, I do sell some chicken eggs, not a whole lot, about $15, 3 dozen a month. And I hope to improve that this summer. But at $5 a dozen, and living on the back road location that I live on, I've never put out any signs. I have 2 neighbors who might be interested, but one of those is moving away too. So there's just not a whole lot of egg sales going on right now. And right now, the eggs in the grocery store, the prices have come back down. Of course, they're not free range eggs, and they're not, ours are not organic, but the ones in the grocery store, the organics will be more too. But the eggs have come back down in price. So that's not necessarily a good thing to make money on. You might break even, but in order to get more eggs, you have to feed them more. And to feed them more, you have to have more, it's going to cost you more. So selling eggs is one possible stream. Now, if you had 40 birds or 100 birds, you could sell to restaurants and such, but then in order to sell off of the property, away from the property, you have to take your eggs to a grading station. If you want to just sell them from your driveway, here in Ontario, you can sell them just from your driveway, but you can't sell them off the property. So I can't take my eggs to a farmer's market, for example, or to a restaurant without having them graded first. And that would be $5 a dozen. But there is the option of selling hatching eggs. Hatching eggs can go from $25 a dozen, $50 a dozen. We have Canadian breast chickens, and hang on a minute. We have Canadian breast chickens, and out in British Columbia, they're getting $85 a dozen for these birds' eggs. I'm not getting that here. I might get 40 here. And because my birds have not been tested, as far as sorry guys, I'm having a dizzy spell. Since my eggs have not been tested for their hatch rate, I don't know if Okay, I'm really having quite a dizzy spell here. Hang on a minute. Wow. Hi, Dan. Okay, sorry, guys. So I might be able to get $25 a dozen for mine to start with because I haven't tested the hatch rate. We're in the middle of doing that right now. I have 16 in the incubator right now, but I don't know the reliability of the incubator either, so I have to test that out before I can go with that. But $40 a dozen, that would be awesome. I can get a dozen in a week. So I could sell a dozen a week if I wanted to. I only have 2 of the breast hens. If I was selling a barnyard mix of eggs, so it would be my breast rooster and all of my other girls, which are Sasso. They're also a dual purpose egg layer meat birds. They're smaller though. I might be able to get $25 or $30 a dozen for those ones. I've been considering getting rabbits. Rabbits you can sell as if you get them harvested properly at an abattoir. You could sell them for meat. You can discreetly sell them for meat, but I don't want to break any laws. You can still sell. Hi, Remy. Thanks for joining. Tonight we're talking about homestead income generators. I'm sure you've had some ideas on your homestead, Rem. Rabbits, you can sell rabbit manure, and you can sell rabbit pelts. You can sell rabbit babies, or you can sell breeding trios. I don't know if you would have much luck selling rabbit meat with the laws that are required. But you could, selling manure by the 5-gallon pail or by the feed bag full or whatever. There are different prices for different things. You could do that. And then there's plants, trees. So you could do cuttings, elderberry cuttings, or willow cuttings, or all kinds of different things like that, where you cut them and you sprout them, and you sell them in the pots. Live stream shared, awesome, thank you. You could do things like herb cuttings or white pine cuttings. I don't know if they would sprout or not, but there's different kinds of plants that you could take cuttings and propagate them and sell those. And most of those would, if they're any size, you could get varying amounts on them, and then you have to still go with quantity so that you can. Sorry, the dizzy spell is still bothering me. Anyways, propagating trees and different plants to get some sales from that. And plant starts. So you can either propagate or start from seed, all of your own herbs, all of your own, tomato plants, pepper plants. And Remy says, rabbits are awesome. How many rabbits do you have, Rem? So your plant starts tomatoes, peppers, onions, all the standard brassicas and all of those things. You could sell them at the farmer's market. You could sell them at a roadside stand on your own driveway. That's another stream, right? And then that leads us to a veggie stand. You would want, you could do farmer's markets. You could do your driveway or the side of the road somewhere if you have permission to be on that property. And again, you can't sell eggs unless it's off of your own property. There are the Ontario cottage laws for selling food products. There are some minimal processing. You might be able to do jams. You might be able to do like a chopped fruit salad, or Leanna says, is there a farmer's market in our area? Yes, there are 2. One is, both of them are about 25 or 30 minutes from us. One runs on Wednesdays and one runs on Saturdays. And Jordan the Deer Hunter, welcome. I'm glad to see you here. Tonight we're having a little chat about generating an income on your homestead. I was saying that I've been basically retired since we moved here in November of 2021. Rem says, I only have 6 right now, and that's only because my 2 mamas didn't want to take care of their babies. We plan on breeding again soon. Well, as the weather warms up, hopefully they'll take a little more direction there. So I already mentioned doing propagating and growing trees, but what about growing Christmas trees, or specifically a larger tree, the apple tree, and not just the little potted, little tiny things, but a full size, 5 feet tall tree or Christmas trees. We have about 1/2 to 3/4 of an acre that's very level, and we probably could get a substantial amount of evergreens in there if we wanted to. But that also means learning all about it before you get into it, but that's okay. A pumpkin patch. It's seasonal. Christmas trees would be seasonal as well. A pumpkin patch would be seasonal. Your veggie stand would be seasonal. And yeah. Wow. But if you had a pumpkin patch and set up a spot with a photo booth and different crafting like floral wreaths and the brooms and the bales of hay and the corn stalks and things like that you could sell, so people could have the decorations for their front porch, and maybe even buy some mums. All the homesteaders are just so awesome, producing food and all. It always amazes me. It is work. It really is work. Have you checked the farmers markets to see what others are selling? Yes, Leanna, I have gone to the farmers markets and looked at what others are selling. The one market might only have six to 10 vendors. And the few times I've been there, somebody might have some tomatoes and lettuce and or cucumbers, and somebody else is selling coffee and, bagged coffee. And Rem, I'm having dizzy spells. And the more I'm talking, the more I'm feeling a little dizzy. And this is coming on just since I turned the live stream on. Leanna, this one's right up your alley. Sell cut flowers or dried flowers. So you would grow your crop and go from that. Oh, I might not be on long tonight, guys. But Leanna's a florist by trade, and she certainly could grow, and she's always been a gardener. She certainly could grow cut flowers and all of that. Thank you, Rem. And one of the things that a lot of homesteading women come to is they want to make soaps and candles and salves and balms, and you can always find those at the farmers markets around here. But for me, it's more, I would lean more toward handcrafted items. I work with polymer clay, and I work with paper crafts. I could do, it's like scrapbooking, but it's greeting cards. And it's folios that you can put little photos in just a little folder, or notepad covers so that your little legal pad's got a cover on it. I've got all kinds of ideas like that. And I don't see either polymer clay products, polymer clay earrings, leather earrings, or any of these paper crafts being sold at the markets near me. Thank you. Health comes first. And Leanna says, if only I was closer. Yes, this doesn't have to be done on my homestead. It can be done on your homestead too. So those back to those flowers just quick, you could also do dried flowers. So you're selling fresh set flowers in the season, but you dry them and sell them off season. Freeze-dried food. I don't have a freeze dryer, but I don't know if that would fall under the Ontario cottage laws for minimally processed. It might. I'd have to, whoever would do that project would have to look into finding out what their laws are. And anything that you're going to sell that way, you would have to have the health unit come in and check all of that out. Okay, Ram, thank you so much. I know you're on the East Coast and time is different. And with the time change we had this weekend, it can throw a lot of people off. Have a great night. Thank you for your support. You can grow hay, grasses, crops on harvest share. Bags of tea are getting more popular. Yeah, that's a great idea, especially chamomile and peppermint, spearmint, all kinds of rose hips and hibiscus and all of those tea options. So growing hay, grasses, or crops on the half. So you have somebody else owns the equipment. They come in onto your land and they, pine and chaga. Reishi mushrooms are a big thing right now. You Can't Eat the Flowers is a great channel to watch. They're based in Kelowna. Okay, and Remy says, okay, I'm out. Good night, bud. So somebody else plants your field and somebody else and then they harvest the field and they leave you with half. So it's not necessarily an income generator unless you're selling your half. If you've got another farmer who needs the hay or the straw, and then you can sell that to somebody else. And then on the same thread is renting out your land for just renting the land for someone else to operate entirely. For crops or for hunting or for, if somebody wants to do some lumber clearing on your land, and I don't have the skills, my husband and I don't have the skills to operate a lumber harvest, but what if you rent out, make it a contract with somebody to clear some of the land for you, and then you get some of the money from that and they get some of the money from that, and it's a win-win. And then there's Airbnb. Hello, Helena. Thank you for joining. And then there is an Airbnb concept. So you could have a bunkie, you could have a cottage, you could have just a cabin in the woods, you could have a campsite in the woods, you could have, and I've thought about having a rustic backcountry, very rustic kind of campsite. And then on another area of the property, have a very fancy yurt or, big canvas tent on a platform with bearskin rugs or sheepskin rugs, and do a very glamping and glamorous campsite. So two extremes. And maybe having a bunkie or a trailer that you rent up close to the farms, closer to the barn, so that you've got a farm stay kind of rental situation. But other ways you can rent the land, the other ways you can do an Airbnb, set up a few trailer sites, especially if you're on water, set up a few, a campground so that people come in with their trailers. It doesn't have to be seasonal. Just you rent it out for the weekends, and they're allowed to access the waterway while they're there, or if there's a festival in town. What about an event venue? I didn't actually even consider that one. You could rent canopies, etc. If you've got a barn, convert a barn into a wedding venue. That's a great one, or some kind of outbuilding that you could convert to an event venue. With the Airbnb, bringing the trailers in. You'd have to have sewage or sewage drainage for them. But if there was an event nearby, like some of our friends are coming to Ontario for the Eastern Ontario Homesteading Conference on May 4th. Well, you may not know all of the people, but they might be bringing trailers, something big like that, or some kind of Homesteaders of America event or whatever. Instead of renting a hotel, some of them might bring a trailer in, and you can rent your property for stuff like that. Hunting season, that if you're near Crown land, and people are planning on camping that or hunting that area, and you can allow them to put up their trailer on your site so that they go out and do their hunting during the day, and they come back to your property to do for the overnight, and then they can go back out again the next day, fishing derbies or that kind of thing, tractor pulls. Classes, you could do classes on your property. And now I know that there is a goat farm in Port Hope called Haute Goat, and they host goat yoga. Yes, Pam's got a great point. All great ideas, but you'd have to investigate special insurance. Yes, you'd have to have all of that investigated. You definitely want liability insurance if anybody's coming on your property. And Leanna suggests you could bring in porta potties. Yes, you could. Classes. I was saying the goat farm does goat yoga, and I know that some chicken farms or homesteads will do a pig harvesting or rabbit harvesting or chicken harvesting. And you don't always have to do it on your property. There's a woman here locally who will go to your farm and teach you how to do chicken harvesting. And they could be canning classes, they could be foraging classes, they could be the craft classes of whatever the craft is that you're doing. In my case, I could be teaching Reiki, all kinds of things like that. Leanna could be teaching floral arrangements. Another thing we could do is we don't have the skills, ability, or materials, but someone else could do it on their property, which is lumber. I mentioned that earlier, but this is doing it on your own property, doing it yourself. And I know that one of our YouTube group, one of the YouTube channels that's in our group of friends does a lot of lumbering. His channel is Life in the Valley. Thomas does a lot of lumber. He's got a portable sawmill. And another part of that lumber could be firewood. Even if you have the lumber brought in and you just chop it, cut it in chunks and chop it and then ship it out or deliver it, firewood is a big thing. I know that here in the village near us, there's no lumber on the property, or no trees on the property. And he probably only has half an acre, but he has the logs brought in and he processes the logs down right there on his property. So what ideas do you have? Tell me some of the ideas you guys have used or are considering or have thought about. I've seen other people do. I know tonight we have Pam from BC. She's recently retired, and I know we have Leanna in Saskatchewan, and she's employed, and she just got a new job. Congratulations, Leanna. And I don't know much about Helena. I know Rem has just gone to bed, and he's on the East Coast, and he's about to change jobs, but he does a lot of gardening. Jordan, the deer hunter, if you're still here, what have you got going on? I don't see CR in here. My friend CR is not here yet tonight. He might show up later. Helena's in Vernon, BC. Are you a friend with my brother? Is that how I got you here? I know my brother Jody's in BC, and he's been referring a lot of people. He's a great support. Okay, so after the income generating ideas, and I'm sure there's dozens and dozens of more. I know that some people who are in the homesteading and YouTube industry are they offer editing services. They offer music. You can do there are some things you can do while you're living in an apartment or in town as well, even if you're not on a homestead or while you're homesteading in place. Photography, stock photography. You can sell your photographs and get a commission or I want to say a copyright fee, but I'm not sure what that is. A remittance, anyways. What is it when you sell a book and you get the money for your book over and over and over and over? Or you've been an actor and you continue to get the kickback for that for years to come. Perhaps not a canning class, but a gathering to get it all done with many hands. Yes, that's a thing too. Hosting like a building bee, like a barn building bee, or a canning gathering. That's if you've got the equipment to do a large canning gathering, and you still have to have insurance. But get everybody. There you go. You used to get everybody together. And Leanna's got the word. It's a royalty. So you could submit your photos to a company and get the royalty from it. You could submit if you're making music, if you're doing photography, if you can edit, if digital art online, your paper crafting, handcrafting, those beading work that Pam does, Reiki treatments. What is the one you do, Pam, with your feet? And there's all kinds of healing touch modalities that you could do. A friend of ours was doing Reiki, and she would host other events. She would have drumming circles, and she would do tarot card readings, and she would have a night where we did a vision board where you create a board with all kinds of pictures on it of the things you'd like to bring into being in the next year. Pam says, I'm doing some craft fairs in our town. Here in town, there's a Christmas craft tour. Some people open their homes to a couple of other crafters and join them for a weekend sale. That's a neat idea. Artist sale, in-home artist sale. That's kind of cool. And Pam does reflexology. By the sound of things, the world is your oysters at the farmer's market. Lots of opportunity there. Yeah, my problem is preparedness, getting myself ready for it, getting my business license, getting all kinds of things set up like that, and going from there. Furniture flipping is another one. Tractor services, using your tractor to go out and do things for other people. Stud services. Maybe you've got a great boar pig, or you've got a great rooster or a great bull. Artificial insemination, having someone come in and provide the semen for their artificial insemination. All kinds of ideas. Farm sitting. A lot of homesteaders are under the impression that they can't go on vacation. If you commit to being a homesteader or a farmer, you can't go away. There are farm services, then there are neighbors that you trust and things like that. And Leanna says, I like the tour idea. We'll do one every holiday, every season or every holiday. Furniture flipping or equipment repair and sales. So you could get those riding lawnmowers and fix them. And then I started into the homesteading in place so if you're in an apartment, the things you can do from there. You can still do propagating from your herbs. You can still do some herb starts, soaps and candles and healing balms and teas and things like that. You can still do that in a limited space. You don't have to have any land. You can do it on your balcony, or even order in your raw materials and create and then sell. Some people, like in towns, some towns, you can have rabbits and quails, and you could be selling rabbits, mating trios, babies, rabbit manure, rabbit pelts, quail eggs, hatching eggs, making jewelry from the feathers. Oh, okay. Herbs and herbal remedies. If you're certified, you could do the herbal remedies. You can do handcrafting, crochet, paper crafts, leather crafts can be done in a small space. You've got your kitchen table, you can do leather crafting. And dog walking or dog sitting. So people are going away for a week and they need someone to sit with their dog rather than putting the dog in a boarding house. You go and stay in their house, or you bring the dog to your house if you don't have, if you don't have other animals around. House sittings and check-ins. So if you've got somebody who's, what's the word? A snowbird, that they go to Florida or Mexico or something for the winter, and they need someone to pop into their house and check in on them and make sure the pipes haven't burst, make sure the mail is moved, and make sure the driveway is shoveled so it looks like there's people there. And you could contract yourself to do that. And likewise, farm sitting, let the farmer go on his vacation. Somebody's got to be there to watch the cows, right? Or to collect eggs, and often if you're doing that stuff, the farmer will say you get to keep the eggs while we're gone, and you get to keep the fresh vegetables while we're gone because they'll be bad by the time we get back. Doggy daycare and boarding kennels. Yes, if you've got the fortitude, to run a kennel or a doggy daycare, more power to you. I couldn't do it. And a lot of people don't take their cat to a boarding kennel, but you still have to have someone to care for your animal, like your cat and your birds. So that's where having a house sitter come in, so the cat, the dog, and the birds and fish can all stay right where they are. And if you've got other animals too, the roosters and chickens and goats that need to be tended to, then it's all an option. And that's it. I've gone through my list today, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am going to take this opportunity to say goodnight. I'm not feeling so great. And the more I talk, the more the waves keep coming over me. I'm going to cut it short tonight. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time. Yes, and the plants. They need their gardens tended to as well. Sorry for cutting it short. I'm just not feeling so great. I will catch you next Monday. Good night, guys.